Europe's mightiest teams are once more looking towards a final solution to create an independent competition, with more money and marketing value than before. This concept is what drives the idea of the European Super League, or ESL for short. In the proposed format, the ESL would be an exclusive club of 20 teams, including 12 founding members such as Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester United, Manchester City, Atletico Madrid, Barcelona, Real Madrid, AC Milan, Inter Milan, and Juventus. In addition to these heavyweights of European football, the league would also host 3 unnamed clubs and 5 others who earn their spot through domestic achievement. These teams would then be split into 2 groups playing each other home and away, with the top teams proceeding to knockout stages. As intriguing as this concept is, it has sparked significant debate within the football community. What is the potential benefits of the ESL? The European Super League, or ESL, promises to bring about some interesting changes to the football landscape. One of the most touted benefits is the potential for higher quality matches. Just imagine, the best teams in Europe, such as Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester United, Manchester City, Atletico Madrid, Barcelona, Real Madrid, AC Milan, Inter Milan, and Juventus, playing against each other on a regular basis. This would lead to more competitive, exciting matches, raising the bar of footballing action. But it's not just about the action on the pitch. The ESL could also prove to be a financial game-changer for the participating clubs. The league is expected to generate substantial revenue, far more than what the clubs currently earn from domestic leagues and European competitions. This increased revenue could enable clubs to invest more in player development and infrastructure, potentially improving the overall quality of football. And let's not forget the global exposure. In today's digital world, football clubs are more than just teams, they are brands. The ESL could provide these brands with wider exposure to an international audience, attracting new fans and sponsors. This could further boost the club's revenue and, by extension, their ability to attract top talent. So, we're looking at a scenario where the best teams are playing against each other more frequently, generating more revenue, and gaining more exposure. It's a tantalizing prospect, isn't it? However, it's worth noting that these benefits primarily apply to the clubs involved in the ESL. The impact on smaller clubs, domestic leagues, and the broader football ecosystem is a different story. And that's something we'll explore in the next section. Scene script. Every coin has 2 sides. It's time to examine the potential drawbacks of the ESL. Firstly, let's talk about the lack of competition. With the closed nature of the European Super League, there is no system of promotion or relegation. This means that the same clubs are guaranteed participation each year, regardless of their performance during the season. This could potentially limit the opportunities for smaller clubs that work hard to climb up the ranks in their domestic leagues, effectively stifling the spirit of competition that's elemental to the sport of football. Secondly, there's the loss of tradition. Football is not just a sport, it's a cultural phenomenon with deep roots in local communities. Existing domestic leagues and cup competitions are integral to this culture. They have a rich history and tradition that spans over a century. The ESL could undermine this, shifting the focus from local rivalries and national championships to a commercialized pan-European competition. The potential erosion of these long-standing traditions is a serious concern for many football fans. Lastly, there's the issue of financial inequality. The ESL might disproportionately benefit the wealthiest clubs, widening the financial gap in European football. By guaranteeing participation for the top clubs, the league could secure a significant revenue stream for these teams, enabling them to invest more in player development, infrastructure, and other resources. This could create an even wider gap between the haves and the have-nots in European football, leading to a less competitive and more predictable football landscape. This is not to mention the environmental concerns. With more matches across Europe, the carbon footprint of teams, fans, and staff traveling to and from games could significantly increase. This contradicts the eco-friendly initiatives promoted by some clubs and could further tarnish the reputation of the sport. These potential drawbacks raise concerns about the impact of the ESL on the broader football ecosystem. The ESL has faced significant backlash. Why is that? Well, the primary criticism of the European Super League centers around the perception that its main emphasis is financial gain, rather than the sport of football itself. It's a sentiment echoed by many in the football community who firmly believe that the driving force behind the ESL is the potential profit for the clubs involved, not the improvement of the game. This perspective has caused widespread apprehension and even protest among fans. They argue that the ESL undermines the traditional football structure, which is rooted in competition, merit, and the unpredictable nature of the game. The closed nature of the ESL, with its guaranteed participation for certain clubs, is viewed as a stark departure from these values. Another point of contention is the selection of teams. The initial team selection for the ESL doesn't necessarily reflect the current performance levels in European competitions. Critics argue that the decision-making process seems to be more focused on the financial value of clubs rather than their sporting achievements. This approach, they suggest, is not in the spirit of football, where success is determined on the pitch, not by the bank balance. It's a criticism that underscores the concern that the ESL might disproportionately benefit the wealthiest clubs, further widening the financial gap in European football. Beyond the boundaries of the pitch, environmental concerns have also been raised. With the potential increase in travel for matches across Europe, there are fears that the ESL could contradict the eco-friendly initiatives that some clubs have been promoting. These criticisms reflect a broader concern about the direction in which football is heading. The backlash against the ESL suggests a desire among fans, players, and football authorities to protect the integrity of the game, its traditions, and its competitive spirit. The question remains, can a balance be struck between the commercial interests of clubs and the core values of football? As the debate around the European Super League continues, it's clear that the answer to that question is crucial to the future of the beautiful game. So, what do we make of the European Super League? The proposed European Super League, a brainchild of some of Europe's top football clubs, has certainly sparked a lively debate. The game of football, which has always been about passion, competition, and tradition, now finds itself at a crossroads with the potential of a new format that could redefine its landscape. On one hand, the ESL promises a tantalizing prospect of regular high-stakes matches between Europe's elite clubs. This could, in theory, lead to more thrilling games, bolstered by the increased revenue that the league could generate. This financial boost could enable clubs to invest more in player development and infrastructure, potentially raising the standard of the game and giving fans more of what they love: high-quality football. Moreover, the ESL could provide clubs with a global platform, drawing in new fans and sponsors from all over the world. The prospect of watching the finest teams in Europe compete against each other on a regular basis is undeniably appealing to many, especially those who crave the spectacle of the beautiful game played at its highest level. However, football is not just about the spectacle, but also about competition and fairness. The ESL's format, with its closed nature and lack of promotion or relegation, could limit opportunities for smaller clubs to rise through the ranks and compete on the biggest stage. This could lead to a stagnant and predictable competition, devoid of the surprise and excitement that comes from seeing an underdog triumph. Furthermore, the ESL could undermine the existing domestic leagues and cup competitions that are deeply ingrained in football culture. The tradition of these competitions and the local rivalries they foster are part of what makes football more than just a game. And then, there's the issue of financial inequality. By disproportionately benefiting the wealthiest clubs, the ESL could widen the financial gap in European football, threatening the competitive balance that sustains the sport's appeal. The criticism and negative perception of the ESL reflect these concerns. Many fans, players, and football authorities fear that the league is driven more by financial gain than a genuine love for the sport. They worry about a future where football loses its soul to commercial interests. The ESL also raises environmental concerns, with the increased travel for matches across Europe potentially contradicting the eco-friendly initiatives promoted by some clubs. While the ESL could bring about exciting matchups and financial benefits, it's clear that it also raises significant concerns about the future of football. The backlash it faces is a testament to the passion and love for the game that fans, players, and football authorities share. It's a reminder that football, at its heart, is more than just a business. It's a sport that brings people together, inspires dreams, and creates unforgettable moments. And for many, that's a tradition worth preserving. So as we ponder on the future of football, the question remains, is the European Super League a step forward or a step too far? While the ESL could bring about exciting matchups and financial benefits, it's clear that it also raises significant concerns about the future of football.